All right, everybody. There's been some big developments in one of the most important countries in the entire world, Brazil. I'm not joking, by the way. Brazil is actually, like, one of the most important countries in the world. You don't think about it all that much if you're an American, most likely, but Brazil is a massively populated nation. When it comes to the tech space and the internet, it's, its population being so massive and so quickly getting online means that it's a huge, huge, huge source of income. Brazil is. And so the idea of a tech company that relies on having as many users as possible creating traffic on a platform would be banned in Brazil. That's a pretty big deal. It's pretty bad for that company. And this has just happened to Elon Musk's Twitter. For those that don't know, a Supreme Court justice, a known left-wing and very controversial at that, for being left-wing, court justice in Brazil, Supreme Court justice in Brazil, pushed forward and passed a ban on Twitter. Not just that, but also a law punishing going around this law, this banning, and trying to use Twitter anyway. So if you're a Brazilian who uses a VPN to use Twitter despite the ban, you could be fined up to $5,000 equivalent in USD if you are caught with this, if you're caught and charged. And apparently we've seen like what, a 1600% increase in VPN demand in Brazil in the last 3 days. So it's like, yeah, per day. Is that true, Nasdaq? It's $5,000 USD fine per day that you broke that law and used Twitter to okay, damn. Yeah, it's some harsh penalties. And apparently there's a lot of Brazilians who are potentially going to get those penalties, considering how much usage of VPNs from Brazil has gone up. I'll find a link. Oh, we don't need one. We've already got this BBC News video here that breaks everything down. But apparently this has also reflected badly on both parties. On one hand, Elon Musk is now in an even worse spot than he was already in, because losing a lot of the Twitter user base from Brazil is a fairly large hit to a site that's already lost so much of its user base. And on top of that, this is seen by many Brazilians as an explicit attack on their freedom of speech. And I think it's easy to immediately default to based. This Supreme Court justice, recognizing the threat that misinfo spread through Twitter could have, saw this and banned the site in the country. And it's easy as a lefty to immediately default to saying, this is great, this is good, this is awesome, right? But at the same time, I don't know if that's where I stand. There's a lot of people in Brazil protesting this right now, and I might be on their side. Maybe not for the same reasons in a lot of cases, but I might be on their side. Brazil may not be America, but I do still value free speech for as many people as possible. Freedom should be maximized. That is a generally agreeable idea. And while Twitter may be one of the worst symptoms of that general freedom standard, I don't know if we want to set the standard at banning sites like the biggest social media site, or one of the biggest social media sites in the world, I should say, because there is misinfo spread on it. Like, I get that that's a problem, but I don't know if I want to set the standard in any country where the response to that is the government deciding to ban it and criminalize access to that site by its citizens. That is kind of a scary idea, is it not? Any Brazilians in chat want to give their take here? I had someone from Brazil that mentioned they were from Brazil in chat earlier. I don't know if they're still here right now, but like, it's a scary idea. So let's see where we stand on this when we've learned a bit more about it, but that's what I know at this moment. So let's dig a little deeper.
With Elon Musk and the social media platform he controls, X, which is formerly was known as Twitter. It's facing the loss of one of its largest markets over a row about hate and speech and disinformation. Brazil's telecom regulator has now suspended access to X for the country's 200 plus million people. It did that over the weekend after a ruling by a senior judge. And there will be a vote later today by a panel of Brazil's Supreme Court on whether to uphold that ruling. It's the most serious crisis yet for the platform, although critics have been accusing X of becoming a haven for extremist and hateful content and also false information for a while now. David Waddell has this.
These things are all true, but at the same time, maybe I'm just very naive here, and like the practical path is one in which like this era of misinfo and optional reality that the right has ushered in with the internet, maybe it needs to be fought this extremely to prevent like the collective sanity of humanity from like falling apart and burning to nothing. But at the same time, maybe like this is just a step too far. Like I think it probably is. I get that the misinfo, like I feel like fines would have been better, right? Like, why could this instead not have been, why couldn't this not have instead been, Brazilians can still access Twitter, but cases of, like, massive misinformation becoming spread and pervasive among their country would be seen as a finable offense, and they could, like, rationalize fining Elon Musk, like, up to 10 million per infraction and just start, like, bleeding money from Musk with the threat of banning the website in the country as like a sort of anvil to hang over his head the whole time. That might have been what's been happening, to be fair. That sounds like what's probably been happening for a while now, and maybe we've just gotten to the point where there's nothing to do but to cut that thread and drop the anvil. Who knows? But I feel that jumping to this and not using this as a threat for leverage to try and employ like just a more harsh legal standard on Elon specifically, not your own people, I feel that would have been a better way to handle it.
Report.
When Elon Musk took control of Twitter...
I'm right. Apparently, the Supreme Court justice in Brazil did fine Musk, and Musk refused to comply, and so they're following through on the punishment, which is the banning of the site. At that point, it's like, okay, well, what do you want them to do, right? If that's the case, then I don't know where on one hand, principally, I don't like the like attacking of free speech, right? On the other hand, what the fuck else are they supposed to do when a site, when a owner of a site is knowingly and gleefully doing something that you have indicated is harming your country and you've like legislated around, and they're unwilling to comply with your nation's laws? What else can you do but follow through on the threat of boycotting that company in your nation? Like what else can you do? You have to be able to follow through. Like that's law at that point. Like, I guess the logic would be that no speech, even the misinformation, no matter how demonstrably harmful to your nation, should be allowed to be legislated, right? Like they would argue, well, the fact they're going after me at all for this stuff being pushed around on my site and becoming pervasive is a problem. It should just be allowed to flourish unchallenged. That is also a perspective I don't like. It's a really rock and a hard place thing here, because I do value the freedom of speech aspect of things, you know? I don't want the people of Brazil to have to pay insane fines because they used a VPN to access Twitter.
2 years ago, in a $44 billion deal, rebranding it X, he signalled there would be far fewer restrictions on what people could post. Mr. Musk calls himself a free speech
I really love that image that went viral on Twitter the other day, where it's a guy tweeting about how much Hitler is misunderstood and how great Hitler is, and it's got like 10,000 likes or whatever. It's just a pro-Hitler tweet with a picture of Hitler. And then someone replied to it with the word cisgender, and it immediately gets tagged with, "This tweet has been hidden due to hateful content," on their tweet, simply replying with the word cisgender. Such a good image.
Absolutist, as he told the BBC's James Clayton last year.
Free speech is meaningless unless you allow people you don't like to say things you don't like. Otherwise, it's irrelevant.
Why does Elon have a scar on his neck? I'm almost certain that is from a camera going into his artery. Did he have a heart surgery? Because, like, what this looks like is an incision made to insert a camera into an artery to get pictures of your arteries and into your heart. That's what I would guess. Why does Elon have a scar there? He doesn't do anything that would create a scar. There's no cool story behind it. So what medical problem did this guy have that he had to get surgery for that gave him this scar? I'm actually curious. Am I right? Because I'm pretty sure that's where they incision to put cameras in your arteries. You and I both know that Elon has no heart. Hold on. Elon neck scar. I'm just curious what this is from. He claimed that he had a cervical disc replaced with a artificial one. Okay, so he had a bone in his neck and shoulder replaced for some reason. Okay. Interesting. I wish Delancey was here to explain the camera thing I was talking about, because they do that. They make incisions into your, like, where your largest arteries are, and they insert a camera on, like, a thing to go, like, through your arteries into your heart to see the inside of it. It's some crazy shit, and the scar looks a bit like that, I think.
If at the point at which you lose free speech,
it
doesn't come back.
Since then, the platform and its owner have faced constant controversy. Individuals banned from Twitter, including controversial influencer Andrew Tate.
Ah, fuck, I didn't cover that. Ah, man. Dude, I need to add this to the scroll, too. I've been away for so long while my mom was in recovery. There's been so much stuff piling up I need to cover. Andrew Tate. Pedo charges. That's right, guys. Andrew Tate, or at least the Tate brothers and multiple of their buddies, 4 people associated with the Tates, including the Tates themselves, have been charged with, like, what is it, up to 16 counts of child sexual exploitation, assault, or rape of minors. Yeah, charged. Like, currently detained and under investigation, upcoming trial for charges against, like, 16 different minors. Like, a dozen plus minors. He is allegedly trafficked and sexually assaulted. Close enough. Welcome back, Epstein.
UK far-right activist Tommy Robinson were reinstated by X.
I feel a better thing to nail home, or to hammer home here, would be the fact that Elon Musk has so frequently unbanned pedophiles after posting sexual assault material. Who remembers or at least, like, pedophilic material? I don't know if they're pedophiles themselves, but they posted at CSAM, so I don't. There's no difference in my mind at that point. Who cares? What's his name? Dom Lucre guy posted a video that's apparently CSAM and gore. Like, the murder and sexual exploitation of a child, if I'm not mistaken. And the video is so awful and so infamous, it has a name. Like, I don't remember the name, but it has a name. Because it's so, like, infamously awful. He posted this, I guess, to, like, own the lefties or whatever. Got banned. It's called Daisy's Destruction. So you can probably imagine how awful that is, you know? I've not seen it, thank God. But you can imagine how fucking awful something with a title like that would be. Anyway, this Dom Lucre guy posts that to own the left. Naturally, the moderation gets to it, because there, at the time, was at least some level of automatic moderation on Twitter, at least, like, still active moderation for stuff like that, especially. The dude gets banned. His fan base, it's fucking child porn, just full-on, like, explicitly child porn SSW Bray do. I don't know exactly how bad it is, I just know it's bad, you know? So anyway, it's an infamous gore tape, and the guy who created it originally is in prison. It's an infamous gore tape. Okay. I thought it was like some recent news story type thing. I don't know. Anyway, he gets banned. His fan base starts reeing at Elon to unban him. And Elon actively, physically, himself confirms on Twitter that he's unbanning him, and then unbans him. On top of that, one of the biggest figures that Elon Musk has protected on the platform is Andrew Tate, someone who is under Epstein levels of investigation for raping kids and trafficking minors. That is the state of Twitter. That is Elon's legacy.
Violent far-right protests this summer in the UK, Mr. Musk found himself in a row with Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer after posting that civil war is inevitable and accusing the government of two-tier policing. Mr. Musk's latest row threatens X's position in one of its biggest markets. Over the weekend, Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes ordered the platform to be shut down across the country. It comes after a months-long feud over alleged misinformation and hate speech on the platform, in which Mr. Musk called the judge an evil dictator. The arrest in France last month of Pavel Durov, CEO of messaging app Telegram, has raised the stakes.
Okay. I need to look into that, I'll add it to the scroll too if you guys find that interesting. The founder, owner, CEO, whatever of Telegram getting arrested. Because I don't know what the deal is behind that. My assumption is, and the reason why I've never used Telegram, is Telegram seems to me like the kind of app used by drug dealers and sex predators. Like child sex predators. Why would you be so appealed to by an app where the idea is like 1 trillion% privacy and like no record being kept of what you say and do? Like, who hears that tagline and is like, that's what I need? It's just sus. And scammers, I guess, they seem to like Telegram. Like, even when people that I know are chill are like, yo, you on Telegram? You should make a Telegram. I'm like, nah, man, I'm not making an account on that shit. Sorry. It's just sus. The site itself is sus. So I don't know why the founder / CEO got arrested, but I'm going to guess it was for something good. Take that with a grain of salt. I do not have like a very strong opinion on this just yet because I haven't looked into the whole arrest like story and everything. But my instinct upon hearing that headline is to agree with France in their arrest. And trust me, it takes a lot to make me agree with France. I agree with France here in arresting him right now, but who knows? Maybe they arrested him for like something really stupid, like really dumb. Who knows? I don't know. So we'll have to look into that. I've got a whole segment I guess we can do for that next stream, which will be tomorrow. France Telegram. All right, I've added it to the scroll. That's a good topic. All right, let's resume.
In the debate, France has rejected claims that CEO can't be held responsible for illegal content shared on the platform.
Oh, they're getting into it already. Okay, I might already be inclined to agree with this then. If it's over the like child sex exploitation happening on Telegram, which you know it's happening on a platform like that. Yeah. Okay, if that's what they're charging him over, if that's what they're going after him for, fair, valid.
Elon Musk hinted on X over the weekend that it's probably wise for me to limit movements to countries where free speech is constitutionally protected. David Waddell, BBC News.
So almost...
Wait, what? Was he trying to imply there that, like, nations where free speech is constitutionally protected don't have real free speech? What was the implication there? Did Elon mistype? What the fuck did he mean?
Few years of controversy have not been good for the commercial fortunes of X. It's faced a widespread advertising boycott by the likes of Apple, Disney and Unilever, which has hit its earnings pretty hard. Investment managers Fidelity, they've written down their stake in the company by 7.
Elon has lost up to 72% of Twitter's value since his purchase. Dude, imagine you buy something, or like, let's just imagine you buy a share and like, on like you download Robinhood, you get your account set up, and you buy $100 of Tesla, for sake of example. And then you come back to your account 2 years later because you forgot about it and find out you lost $72 of that 100 you invested. How, like, you probably wouldn't feel bad over that little, but we're talking like, what was it, billions Elon had to pay for Twitter, something along those lines. So when you consider that he's lost 72% of the value in something he had to pay, he was legally forced to pay billions for, it's hysterical. It's genuinely hysterical. He's getting to the point where Twitter isn't worth a quarter of what he paid for.
22%. That's according to recent figures seen by the Washington Post. Now, if their valuation is accurate, X will have gone from being worth $44 billion at the time of Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter to being now worth just $13 billion, which is quite a write-down indeed. Well, we can hear now from technology journalist Chris Stocklewalker, who joins us now. Chris, firstly, I mean, Brazil is a major market.
I hate that when you're that rich, you can fuck up so colossally, and it's like, well, at least I have my $13 billion golden parachute. Like, imagine being so wealthy that you can fuck up that bad. That's the equivalent of getting like a 26% on a test, right? Like, your grade on running a business is basically a 26%. You've got like a super F, an F minus. And you still have a $13 billion golden parachute to act as your like, yeah, well, at least I can go chill on a yacht for like the rest of my life and never work again. You know, like, imagine that is the worst case scenario for you. That is the 1% in this country. That is the 1% in this world. That is Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg and all these wealthy bastards. Their worst case scenario is billions of dollars, is retiring with billions of dollars and never working again. That is their worst case scenario. That is their, like, everything goes ass up. Everything's fucked. It's all over. Worst case scenario. Did Dom Lucre post the uncensored copy and not the 60-minute, not the blurred 60 minutes copy? How is he not rotting in a fucking jail cell? I'm pretty sure he posted an uncensored video of gore, of like child molestation gore. Like, I don't think it was censored at all. It wouldn't have been an issue if it was censored, I don't think. Like, if it was being posted censored to make a point, no one would have been freaking out. I think it was just posted uncensored for shock. Is he in prison? No, I don't believe so. I don't know why. I'm guessing just that pro-conservative bias. I don't know. I genuinely don't know how he got away with it.
Market. There are a lot of people there, 220 plus million. Is this significant? Explain to us how significant it could be.
Yeah, pretty significant because of the scale of the country and therefore the scale of the user base. We don't have hugely reliable data. We have third-party estimates. Anywhere between around about 20 million and 40 million Brazilians are believed to use X every single month. Around about a third, about 30% or so, have it installed on their phones, which means that this is a relatively big market and has been not just for X, but for lots of other tech platforms, which is why they try and keep them on side.
And if you're a tech exec right now, there might be some concern that this sort of thing is catching, that other countries and other markets might follow suit.
Yeah, we had not only this issue with Elon Musk and X in Brazil, but we've had Pavel Durov and France and the debates around Telegram, the encrypted messaging app there. We've also had Elon Musk getting into spats with many other people, and I think that this is par for the course for him. Most recently, we've had him getting engaged with European regulators, including Thierry Breton, the commissioner in charge of social media there. Earlier, he also had a similar dispute over free speech, in his view, over images and video that was shared of an attack on a church in Australia with the e-safety commissioner there. So this is becoming,
dude, hyper focus on the pedophilia shit getting posted on Twitter, for God's sakes. Who the hell in the media, in like the world of politics, is going to go after you for explicitly pursuing a website that's hosting child sexual assault material? No one's attacking the leaders in France for going after the Telegram guy, from what I can tell, but there are riots in Brazil over this guy banning Twitter because they seem to be under the impression it's over, like, their free speech being too free. If he had prefaced this with, like, no, there's real harmful material getting spread on this site, and constantly brought up shit like the posting of CSAM, I feel like fewer people would be brave enough to march in the street against this guy. You know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm saying, right? Like, if that was the narrative he generally followed, who the fuck would be in the street protesting against him? Who would want to be seen protesting against the guy who's fighting against the child porn posting site being available in the country? No one would be protesting besides, like, the craziest libertarian conservative types. To be fair, a lot of those are probably general far-right people. Brazil did have a mini J6 event against Lula. Yeah, they did when the election happened a few months ago. That was like I guess it's been like a year now. Yeah, that was a big thing, so don't get me wrong. There's definitely a populist conservative uprising there. But I don't know if it's strong enough to have made the same, like, I think it would have been very different if that had been the attention drawn to it.
I think, increasingly common, and Elon Musk is a lightning rod, I suppose, for that sort of criticism.
But is X a little bit of a basket case here? Because we heard there about the boycotting of advertising, about the valuation write-down. Is the business model just not working?
Yeah, I think it is really struggling at the minute. We know that Elon Musk was very, very keen to buy this. We know that he was willing to spend an awful lot of money, and we know that he has pretty much tanked the business behind it. So one of the things that Musk does often revert to is this concept that controversy creates cash. Now, I don't think that he's going to end up getting Brazil back online anytime soon unless he accedes to those requests, which are relatively simple, but he sees this as a red line. So this is going to impact the business, I think, even further.
Okay.
I really think it's important to acknowledge the fact that Elon Musk probably does not politically align all that closely with the American right. Besides a few issues such as his general misogyny, some of his, like, you know, racism, and I think the biggest aspect being the business side of things. Republicans in power means big businessmen like him have it easier, so there's that. But besides that, I think Elon Musk is phoning up the conservative cultural beliefs that he's been touting as of late, especially since his purchase of Twitter. And I think the reason for that is in recognizing that Twitter is a sinking ship, losing users constantly. He's realized the only way to prevent the ship from sinking to the very bottom is to make its remaining crew, so to say, work even harder. What I mean to say by this is Elon Musk and his cult of personality and his marketing Twitter so hard to conservatives is meant to, well, yes, it will continue to shrink the user base of Twitter. It will lose advertisers, so on and so forth. The users who stay on Twitter will be so dedicated to continuing to use it, using it constantly, posting on it constantly, scrolling through it constantly, looking at ads constantly, paying for Twitter Blue constantly. They'll be so focused on pleasing Daddy Elon and keeping the site afloat just so that it looks like Elon is smart and good and winning, that he'll have sycophants, a small group of sycophants wailing out to keep Twitter afloat. I think that's what he's hoping for. And I think what he wants to use to drive that is controversy and anger. A lot of the biggest conservative accounts and figures on all of the internet built their careers off of this prospect, or this concept. The idea that hate and anger drives engagement. And it does. It does, to be fair. It works. You've seen how big conservative figures get relatively effortlessly. A lot of it is just if you can make people's pre-existing anger benefit you, that's the best thing ever. And that's what a lot of conservatives do. They take your pre-existing anger about a thing and they redirect it towards the left. And they redirect your your venting and you're finding a way to release that frustration and anger. They make it so you have to go to their content for that to happen. For a lot of these people, they think that everything's going woke, everything's becoming so woke and going down the gutter, the woke mind virus is everywhere, and they feel the only place they can stop, relax, and get a moment's respite from this woke takeover is watching their favorite conservative chud grifter. Because their favorite conservative chud grifter has brainwashed them, among other content creators, into thinking they're the only voice they can trust and the only voice of reason that they can come back to, like, in their mind, regain some of their sanity after they hear something that they think is crazy. I'm sure some of you have been in that position when you were in, like, a conservative content phase, if you were. Like, you would think you'd hear, like, this crazy woke mainstream media fake news shit. Like, I need to listen to insert conservative commentator 583 to hear some truth. I gotta bleach my brain after that woke SJW shit. You know what I mean? I'm really curious to see how this turns out in the long run. Twitter has lasted longer as a functional site you can actually go to and do things on, longer than I expected. I genuinely thought Twitter would not exist and you would not be able to use it anymore by this point. It's staying afloat despite all odds at this point, but this might be the final straw to break the camel's back. Who knows? Then again, a lot of Brazilians are using VPNs right now in order to bypass this, and they aren't seemingly dissuaded by the law and the potential fines for doing so. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see if this law stays in place. We'll see if it's actually enforced, and I'm curious to see how it goes for Elon as well, if this ends up being the end of Twitter. They've lost a lot of money, but they've also still got a lot of money, so who knows? Elon's been diverting money from his other business ventures, SpaceX and Tesla, to help pay to keep the site running. He's got a lot of money, but not forever money, not infinite money. If it keeps going this way, things are going to have to start shutting down and bankrupting sooner than later. Anyway. If you enjoyed this video, or you feel you were entertained, or educated even by it, then consider dropping a like. Every thumbs up goes a long way to support the channel. It really does help a ton. basically twists YouTube's arm and forces them to push my content in the algorithm out to more people. So seriously, guys, all of you hitting that like button really means a lot. Same goes for everyone commenting down below. It has a similar effect. And if you subscribe and ring the bell icon, not only are you helping a ton, but it also makes sure that YouTube tells you when I go live or upload a new video, because trust me, they won't do so otherwise. On top of that, if you want to see more from me, you should follow my social medias linked down below in the description and join my fan Discord, which is, by the way, totally free to join. I host game events, call-in streams, and watch parties there as well, almost every week, and I announce all my new uploads and streams there. So if by some miracle, or I should say not miracle, like the opposite of a miracle, YouTube does not tell you when I upload or go live, at least you know, if you're in my Discord, you'll always know, because I will tell you through the announcements channel. And of course, if you want to and you can afford it, please consider supporting me directly financially via donating on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or Patreon, or buying merch at the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me, it helps a ton, but you guys really do help to keep my lights on when you donate, so I really do appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who's watching, and as always, have a good one. I hope to see you again soon.